Hey guys, Dr. Ben here. Let's talk about fibromyalgia today. We're going to get into the whys, the hows, what this really means. We see patients all the time. They come in, they've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. A lot of you out there in the Facebook world have commented down below that you've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Let's get into it. Let's figure out the root cause or root causes of fibromyalgia and any condition for that matter. And this is the thought process that you need to have. If you're dealing with a health issue, if you have a loved one dealing with a health issue, family, friend, whatever it is, you've got to get to that underlying why. You've got to take a step back and you've got to say which systems are out of balance. Fibromyalgia, I'll just say it, is not a disease. It is not a disease, it is not a disease, it is not a disease. It is a lumped sum of symptoms. It is a condition, kind of like an irritable bowel syndrome, like a chronic fatigue syndrome. Fibromyalgia is not a thing that you can kill off. It's not a thing that you can cut out. Hey, Courtney, thanks for the share. But there are definitely reasons why people get diagnosed with this, why their body is having these symptoms. Hey, Eric, great to see you. Spouse has it. So again, think about this, Eric. Your spouse has it. Well, there is no it. There's symptoms, there's pain spots, there's fatigue. She feels bad, absolutely 100%. And I'm not discounting that. But what I'm saying is that this is not a disease state. This is not something we can kill off. This is not any one thing. It is the body has gone haywire. So welcome, love having you guys on. When I start thinking about any condition out there, when a patient comes in, we love getting to the underlying why. Lexi, great seeing you. Pop down below where you guys are watching from, all over the country, all over the world. We had Portugal yesterday, we had South Africa, lots of different places all over the world. Mine was brought on by aspartame. So Serena, same thing, here we go. Did aspartame really bring on that fibromyalgia just by itself, or was your body already at that symptom line? And this is what we look at all the time. Symptom line is here. And if you're below that symptom line, you don't have the pain, you don't have the fatigue, you don't have all these issues. But as soon as you go over that symptom line, things flare up. And if you've got 10 systems stacked up on top of each other and they're all out of balance, down there in Abilene, great. If you've got those systems all stacked up and you're right at that cutoff, it doesn't take much to go over there. So that's what we're looking at, is really, can we get to this underlying why? Can we get to, hello there in Fremont, just had a patient today. She lived in Ralston where I did, Jenny there, and she went to the same elementary school, lived like 2 blocks from my house, so kind of funny. But so here's what we're looking at. We have to get to the underlying why. So what are some of the whys when we get into fibromyalgia? Why do people have these issues? Well, again, it is not a thing. It is not a thing you can kill off or cut out or take a medication for. A lot of you, if you have fibromyalgia diagnosis, you're taking antidepressants, you're taking inflammatory medications, you're taking pain pills, different things like that. But a lot of it, they even start giving mental brain psychological drugs for fibromyalgia. Why? One, the doctor's like, well, you know, fibromyalgia patients, they're all a little crazy, so let's just give them this antidepressant. So, you know, it's not a fix. Just by giving somebody a brain-changing thing is not a fix. What we've got to do is we've got to go in and we've got to figure out which systems are out of balance. So over here you've got symptoms. People come into us and their digestion stinks and their brain's off and their energy's low. And I had a 12-year-old today from Cody, Wyoming, and her thyroid's off and all these things are out of balance. And I had an 84-year-old today and she had the worst adrenal numbers ever. Hey Donna, for my friend it was Lyme. And again, why, I'll get back to that, what I was just saying, but why did Lyme trigger that? You know, because here's the deal. Personally, I've had 2 bullseye tick ring bites and took some antibiotics and I've never had Lyme symptoms. You know, West Nile, why did 90% of the people that got bit by a West Nile mosquito, That's the really important question. They had on me at all until Cymbalta caused a chemical imbalance that almost had me take my own life. Serena, yeah, I mean it's intense, and this is something that we get thrown at all the time. Is that just throw a med at somebody, throw something, cover it up, whatever you got to do. A lot of these doctors, seriously, if you were a fibromyalgia doctor and that's all you saw every day, you would go crazy. You would be just throwing out psych meds, all types of stuff, because you don't have it in your wheelhouse to fix people. You can't fix fibromyalgia from a medical perspective. You can't out surgery it. You can't out medication it. Tell me if any of you out there have had fibromyalgia diagnosis, or somebody you know or love, and they took enough medication or they took enough surgeries and fixed their fibromyalgia. I'd give you $100 right now. Literally, I would give you $100 if you're like, oh yeah, I got on enough of the right medication and my fibromyalgia went away. It just doesn't happen. So what is the root cause? That's what we've got to get to. So some of the things that we look at with fibromyalgia. Hey Michelle, great to see you. Kind of cloudy down here. I wonder if you guys are getting snow up in Estes there. So here's what we're looking at is a couple different main keys that we look at for potential fibromyalgia causes. Tried all the meds, made me worse. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I guarantee if there is one person, nope, Serena, I manage it, but the pain never goes away completely. Well, listen here, Serena. Here's what we're looking at. One of the top causes of fibromyalgia, or top triggers, is going to be low thyroid state. So remember, we have 1 in 8 people with thyroid are male, the rest are female. Hey Suzette, great to see you. So a high percentage of people with low thyroid issues are female. For those females, 80% of them, the research shows, have Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune to the thyroid. So you've got to, figure out if you have autoimmune going on. If you have thyroid issues, you've got to do all of your T3, all of your T4, look at your antibodies, look at everything you possibly can. That's going to be very, very important. And then from there, you're going to next figure out, is it that you don't have enough of the thyroid hormone? Is it that you're under converting? Is it which part of the thyroid stuff is out of balance? But a lot of low thyroid symptoms can come across as fibromyalgia as well. So a lot of people with low thyroid are going to be tired. They're going to be in pain. They're going to not be doing very, very well on a lot of different levels that also look like fibromyalgia. So if we can get the thyroid working better, calm down that autoimmune reaction, make these changes, a lot of fibromyalgia will go away. Yeah, Janie there, I was put on steroid therapy, which made it worse. So absolutely, again, I still haven't seen one comment come up there that, oh, I found the perfect drug and now my fibromyalgia went away. It doesn't happen. So thyroid, you've got to dig deep. If you have fibromyalgia issues, you've got to dig deep. You've got to figure out which one of these systems is out of balance. And if it is thyroid, then you've got to take it into your hands to really fix up this thyroid issue that you have. If it's autoimmune, you've got to stop that autoimmune reaction. Number 2, we look at the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands are our stress glands. And yeah, I got it after being hit by a semi. That's Jill, absolutely. So here's the deal. You were probably close to that symptom line, and then boom, Lyme disease, get hit by a semi, go through menopause, whatever. There is a thing that usually stimulates it and puts it over the edge, but I guarantee you there was a lot of other systems out of balance, even if you didn't realize it, that were very close to being at that symptom level. So adrenals, cortisol is our number 1 adrenal hormone. It is going to be released from the adrenals to fight off a lot of the fatigue, a lot of these low energy states, and the cortisol is going to be kind of that fight or flight one. So lupus, remember Deidre, a lot of people that have lupus, they may get diagnosed fibromyalgia at first, but lupus is an autoimmune condition. Give me a thumbs up, anybody else, thumbs down if you want, have autoimmune out there. A lot of people that are dealing with fibromyalgia also have some autoimmune stuff going on. So let me know, pop down below if you are dealing with any autoimmune. Yeah, there's a bunch of thumbs coming up there. So here's where we're at. is cortisol. Cortisol should be highest in the morning, lowest at night. But what happens for a lot of people is that that cortisol starts going up later in the afternoon, evening, nighttime, and we're not getting a good restorative sleep state. What happens during sleep, bone, skin, hair, nails, muscles, joints, brain, gut, all these different things are going to start rebuilding when we are in this in this good deep sleep state. But if cortisol is too high, it is going to be affecting a lot of our ability to get that good deep sleep state. Jill said, but hey, fibro is all made up in our heads. So you know what, Jill? I guarantee you this is not in your head, and this is what we tell patients all the time, and even I had a lady today, blood work crazy bad, lots and lots of stuff, but I'm like, you know what, good news though, this isn't just, oh, everything looks great. It is all in your head. You know, it is not in your head. There are absolutely reasons why, and you don't just need an antidepressant. That's the other thing that we see all the time. Regina, I have Hashimoto's. I was also diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Several people in my family have been diagnosed with that as well. Absolutely. So, you know, there is I almost guarantee in your world, if you get that thyroid working better, get that down, the thyroid stuff down into the good range, you are going to see a massive change in your fibromyalgia symptoms. Would try general neurology as well. Now my hysterectomy, yeah. So any of those issues are going to potentially put you over that symptom line. Deidre, best way to help with the cortisol. So cortisol, remember, we always say the number one stressor to the adrenal glands is actually blood sugar swings, especially the dips. So you've got to stabilize your blood sugar. That's a crucial part of healing up those adrenals. It's one of the big reasons why people have such issues with their adrenals regardless of supplements. You've got to get a brain map done. You got to see if you've got this high alpha, if your brain is in this constant fight or flight state. You've got to work on getting out into nature, getting good sleep, shutting your brain down, doing a lot of the things day in and day out that are going to help shut down that brain. I think we had another question here. Suzette, given an antidepressant to treat these symptoms. Yeah, absolutely. And Suzette's in the medical field. She knows, she's seen this time and time again. So the cortisol, especially if it's elevated at night, you're not going to be getting that good, deep, restorative sleep state. Number 3 that we look at is infections, and especially chronic viral infections. Give me a thumbs up if anybody knows what I'm talking about out there. EBV, which is Epstein-Barr virus, monovirus, West Nile, chronic viruses of STDs, all types of different things. There we've got some out there. Tell me if anybody has eaten or drank their celery juice for a couple months. Did anybody go through that thought process and start juicing all that celery? So Epstein-Barr virus, one of the most common ones. We've talked about this too with chronic COVID or COVID long haul is actually reactivation of the Epstein-Barr virus. So a lot of people, there's some celery thumbs out there. So a lot of people had their Epstein-Barr virus reactivated from going through that COVID situation and dealing with that virus. So we know that a lot of this low-grade nagging symptoms, and I almost guarantee you if you talk to some of these COVID long haulers and you have fibromyalgia, you'd be like, it kind of sounds like me. It's a very similar thing. So chronic viral infections, huge part of it. Could be chronic bacterial, especially in the gut. If we see high neutrophils in the blood work and we see that bacterial infection, it definitely could be dealing with gut bacteria. You could have bacteria in your teeth, bad teeth. You could have a root canal gone bad. You could have chronic sinus in there as well. Some people, if they have mold issues and they're living in a moldy house, that can come across as fibromyalgia, where they're just in pain and fatigue. I had a 24-year-old a few years back that she would have to literally crawl down the hallway. She'd have 2 little kids and she'd have to crawl down the hallway to get to the kitchen to do anything around the house. She thought there was poopy diapers somewhere, and she'd be smelling under the couch, whatever, but they had a crawl space, and the sewage was actually draining down, not all of it, but it was dripping down into the crawl space, into the dirt, and that was festering in there for months and months, and like she literally almost died. So could she have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia? Maybe she was. I don't remember if she got diagnosed with that, but it definitely could have been a diagnosis like that, because she was that mold that was coming up from that crawl space was horrendous. Her husband, he was doing okay. One of the kids wasn't doing well, but she had almost all the signs and symptoms of fibromyalgia. But if they would have put her on an antidepressant or put her on a Lamictal or a clonazepam or any of these different PAMs or whatever they're giving them, it would have done nothing to help her. And that's what happened. She had been to neurologists, she'd been to a bunch of places, and had not gotten the results that she needed. So here's the deal, guys. Doesn't matter ultimately what the diagnosis is, because once you get this fibromyalgia diagnosis or a chronic fatigue syndrome diagnosis or an irritable bowel syndrome or whatever it is, why are women more susceptible than men? So again, I think multiple things. One, thyroid is a big part of it, and thyroid way more of that. Autoimmune is a big part of that, and women have higher autoimmune. And you guys have to deal with men, and we're very stressful. So it's just women are hardwired that way a little bit more. They're going to worry more. They're going to stress out more. So there's a lot of reasons that we see it more in women. So you've got to get to the underlying why. No matter what your condition is, no matter if you come in with MS or you come in with chronic digestion issue, anything like that, you've got to get to the underlying why. So is it your thyroid? Is it your adrenals? But it could be your gut or your liver or all these other things. Doesn't matter. We've just got to take that step back, and we've got to go system by system by system, and that's how the miracles take place. Whether it's fibromyalgia or not, it doesn't matter, because fibromyalgia, really, think about this, is not a thing. And Jill, it's not all in your head. You're not making it up. You're not making these symptoms up. But there is no thing that fibromyalgia is. You've got to come from this place of really tackling the underlying whys. So there was a couple questions here. When helping our gut with probiotics, how often should we rotate our brands before coming back to the one we started with? Two thoughts on that one. We will go, sometimes we'll give people 3 or 4 bottles of probiotics and rotate like every day. We'll do different ones, or we'll do a kill off, build up with a good one, another kill off, build up with a different good one, kill off, and we might do that 2 or 3 times. But I'd say every bottle I would be rotating your probiotics. That's going to be really helpful through there. And Michelle, wanted to go on antidepressants. Then I found you. You're awesome, Michelle. No more antidepressants. You're doing amazing. I'll never forget our first conversation and talking about Trail Ridge Road. I'm so happy to see where you've come from. No, it's not easy to be a woman. And Serena, I've noticed that my female cousins, my sisters, have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Absolutely. But I guarantee you there is something else going on. Melissa, thank you. Paula, thank you. Awesome. Love seeing you guys. If you've got any questions at all, pop those down below. Remember, Thursday we'll be going live 8:30 in the morning. I know this is lunchtime. I'll be honest. I hit the button for the Nashville the Facebook page and not this one. So I was going live, and I'm like, it's not nearly as many people as here. So there was like 10 people on there or 15 people at any time, and a few comments, and they were all coming back like, I'm in Tennessee, I'm in Georgia, I'm in Tennessee. And they're like, well, that's weird. Why is everybody from Tennessee? And then I looked, I'm like, oh, it's the Tennessee page. So that's why I was not on this morning. And so I'm doing it at lunchtime today. So, but if you want to check out our Facebook page on the Nashville site, you can watch that one and see. It's kind of like your pastor doing two sermons in one day. See how good I did if I forgot anything. So hopefully this one's even better because it was the second one of the day, and I think I've got a little more energy at noon than I do at 8:45 in the morning also. So love having you guys on. If you got any questions, I'll pop those down below. If you're struggling with life, struggling with getting your health back, whether it's fibromyalgia or whatever it is, give us a call. We can direct message us as well. Brittany answers all those. She's great, can guide you in the right path. But you know, either if we think we can help you, great. If not, you know, we'll get you some advice that we can. So love seeing you guys, Gina. Yeah, awesome. Be well, everybody. Stay strong. Keep that body going as much as you possibly can. Take care.